Hello guys, and welcome back to another weekly raw uncut investor's perspective on what's going on in Dubai and the UAE and region in general. So in this kind of episode, I want to reflect on everything that's been going on and tell you my perspective as a property investor in the UAE, as a company owner there, and what I've been looking at and what do I think about it all. So basically, I think I'll just post it really without any editing and so on. So I'll sometimes look into my notes that I want to really touch on today because I think these are quite important topics. And before you tell me that I'm still in Moldova or you didn't know that I'm not in Dubai, I'm just telling you I'm still stuck here because I had the nose surgery and it went very well. It was planned way before everything started. I had no idea whatsoever that this will happen. To be honest, I kind of want to go back and get back to business, but here we are. We are all affected now. So most of my flights are getting either postponed or just canceled. So I have to just rebook every single week. I've been canceling it for 3 times already. So hopefully soon we'll get back and hopefully also get back not only to Dubai, but also to normality. But yeah, a couple of first things that I want to touch on just to reflect on the past few weeks. First of all is going to be reflection on the stock market and how this was affected by everything happening, because as we all know, this is usually the first market to react to such things, to any kind of crises. And we've seen that in 2008, we've seen that pre-COVID. It was usually the first one to get hit. And I also did some research on the past crises, and I've seen that the property market and also the stock market both were basically affected during those crises, which I mean is obvious, but the first was the stock market, and pre-COVID it was affected by around 30 to 40%, and I'm mainly referring to UAE companies, so MR stock and bigger bank stocks such as Emirates and BD, and yeah, basically before that in 2008 it was an even obviously larger collapse, so it was around 70 to 80%. And the thing that kind of worries me is that we are slightly seeing the same kind of patterns as in 2008. I'm not saying that this will be the same case. I'm just saying that the banks have put a cap on how much you can actually sell and how much the stocks can actually decrease per day, and this is 5%. And even if you check the UAE stock market, you see that most of them, if they decrease by around 4.98%. So there is a cap on that. This exact thing happened in 2008. So we've seen around 30% cut in around 2 to 3 weeks. So about 10 to 15 in the first week, another 15 in the second week, and another 5-10 in the third week, which is more or less the same thing that is happening now. So while I'm not saying it's going to be repeated, I'm just analyzing the patterns and the same traits to the other past crises. So could this be a buying opportunity for the dip? Absolutely, but I'm not too sure if it's still right now the best moment to do that. So while I'm not saying that it's going to collapse fully, or maybe it will even bounce back tomorrow if everything normalizes, but I'm just saying, just comparing to everything that happened in the past, this could be a starting point for a good buying dip opportunity. So you can either do a dollar cost average, or you can just wait and see how this happens in the next couple of weeks. So obviously we see and we know all the threats that are happening. We obviously have the news and the media, and while everything the UAE government is doing is really good and helping with this, we still need to analyze it properly and know exactly what to do and how to react to this. So just speaking on that, I think the stock market could present a pretty good buying opportunity, as in for the dips that are happening. I'm not too sure if it's right now or slightly later, but if you are into this long term, this could be a good buying opportunity just to do the dollar cost average, maybe every single day even, for a couple of days or even a couple of weeks, maybe every week, just to balance it out. So that's my perspective on this. I'm actually personally also waiting to see how this will develop. If we see that some news are popping up saying that it will normalize and so on, mainly from the US and from the Iran side, then probably I will start just buying it back, and hopefully it will get back to normal, to the normal peaks or even higher. So that's the first thing that I wanted to discuss. The second thing is the holding cash to buy better distress opportunities when they will appear. This is another major important thing, which I also see happening not only for me, because I am holding cash right now and I'm really looking and researching opportunities, but also for my clients who are planning really large portfolio, investments in the UAE, and they plan them way before all this happened. So definitely for all the clients, there will be a lot of opportunities. So while we don't know when this will happen, it will definitely happen. So while right now I don't see fit to just ask, for this kind of opportunities just because you feel like they are existing, I think you just have to wait and see how the market will push them to you. So just, I'm saying demand and supply. If obviously there will be too much supply and people won't be able to sell them really quickly, at least as in the past, then that's exactly when you jump in. So there could be already some of them, but I haven't really personally seen that. I actually see most of the investors holding. So it really depends on how all this thing is going to develop. If nothing continues, probably there won't be as many opportunities just because of that. But if this does continue, then most probably in the long term, you will see some opportunities, and we will definitely have more distressed deals. So yeah, basically, if you're interested about this, do reach out. I'm doing my own due diligence and market research every single day for me and also for my own clients. So join in and let's have a call. Let's see how we can restructure your portfolio or how we can just find some distressed opportunities, may they arise. So yeah, that's another thing. I think that leads into the third topic, which is the portfolio restructuring. I personally started already diversifying my portfolio, to be honest, not even because of that, just because I wanted to invest in some other countries, and if you follow me for a long time, you know that I did invest in many other countries. So I started in my home country in Moldova, where I currently am now, and I'm actually looking at some investment opportunities right now in here, but mostly for living. So another place where I invested and I still have the properties, and they're on Airbnb for over 6 years now, this is Bali. So my third place was Dubai, but I'm not only looking at Dubai, I'm not only looking at Moldova or Bali, I'm looking at other places. And most recently I invested in Tbilisi in Georgia, but I'm also looking into Azerbaijan, I'm looking into Romania, and I'm looking into even Western European countries such as Andorra and some others. So while those are not my main priorities, I definitely try to see which are the best ones in terms of simply numbers, ROI, yields, and so on, because I like to buy them and keep them on long-term rentals or Airbnb if the environment allows for that. So portfolio restructuring is definitely going to be a big thing if you want to discuss your current portfolio, or if you were planning to invest into UAE and you want to restructure your plan right now. Maybe you want to still hold some cash for those opportunities, but you also want to diversify them into other markets such as Georgia. I could definitely introduce you to those projects as well, because I also invested there. So when we buy all together, we usually get a better discount, we usually get better allocation. So that's exactly why I'm talking about this. So do reach out and let's talk about it. The rental market is also something that we need to discuss, and the predictions for that. So I recently did a video which actually went live, well, after all these things happened, but it was filmed before all these things happened. So it is still very accurate. It is still what I believe based on the data that I discussed in that video. However, if we are approaching this new reality, new perception of the market, we need to definitely address the newer things. So while I didn't see any kind of long-term rental dips as of yet, I probably will expect some of them. There are a couple of reasons for that. Number one is because the summer is approaching, and during summer, usually we have slower, buying, selling happening on the markets, slower rents happening as well. People are away and maybe they come back in September, October, and that's exactly when everything starts again. That's one normal thing. The second thing is obviously everything that's been happening right now with Iran, Israel, and US. This may have some effect. I'm not too sure how much and to which extent. However, we're definitely looking into that. And if obviously some of them, they will decide that Dubai is unsafe and have to leave Dubai for some reason or for some time, then probably we will see more supply available. And that's exactly where we can see some price decreases in the rental contracts. So that's the, chain that should happen before we see those rents actually going down. So if we see people leaving for whatever reasons they have, which I don't personally plan to do that. I actually will go back and continue living there. I know maybe it's a bit stupid that it's still under threat, still things are happening, but I kind of became a bit more resilient because my neighbor country is Ukraine. And when I was flying back and forth for the past 5 years, I was always having this kind of news literally around the corner. We even had some missiles that fell into Moldova while I was in Moldova. I got my flights from Istanbul to Moldova disrupted multiple times. So while I'm not saying this is a smart decision to stay or not smart, it really depends on you and how you perceive the situation. I personally will go back and I will continue running the business from there and helping my clients and also looking for opportunities for me. So yeah, let's see how this ends. I'm not sure in the next 1 month or so we will see anything in the long-term rents happening, but we definitely already started seeing this in Airbnb space. So while long-term rent, I think we'll see the effect maybe in 5 to 6 months, Airbnb is already seeing this. So we see a lot of discounts, we see a lot of hotels giving discounts and so on. So definitely short-term rental is already affected and is going to continue to be affected. So this year, if you planned, a KPI or a target and you have Airbnbs in Dubai, probably you have to brace for the effect. For the long-term rentals, I don't really see as many residents flocking back or, leaving their jobs and so on. So they will still continue the rents, but let's see how the ones that will leave will affect the market. So I don't really think it's going to be a big number, but if it's going to be, well, I'm definitely going to get a bigger rent or continue or get just another rent just because the market will allow. So definitely that's something to look at. And finally, how investors can make money during this period. Obviously, it's a very bad period, but we are here as investors. That's why I created the channel. That's also, bad times create opportunities, and you need to be smart with your money. You need to diversify. Obviously, you don't need to put everything in one basket. That's literally the point, what I was saying just previously, that I have some Airbnbs in Bali, I invested in Dubai, I invested in Georgia, and now I am also buying back in my home country. That's not really for investment purposes, it's mainly for living purposes, just to have a base here as well. However, it's still an investment and it's still a diversification. So I think Dubai is definitely still here to stay for a long time, and for us investors, it will create more opportunities to buy in the next couple of months. It might take a bit longer to rent them out, if you're, in Airbnb space, to get your money back. However, it might not be really as much affected for long-term rents. Let's see how this will, react to all these things, to all the people living during summer, if this will actually create any kind of effect to this. So let's see. But basically, these were the couple of points that I wanted to tackle. I hope you find some of this information helpful and useful. And if you do have some questions, or you want to discuss your portfolio, or you want to discuss some of the investments that you might want to sell, or you just want to see how you can restructure it, how you can, brace for some of the bad effects and just leave them out, because we all know in long term everything gets back to normal. So if you invest for a long time and you're not just buying to flip it, you will survive any kind of crises. So if you need help with that, please do reach out. I am available. I'm actually sourcing distressed properties for my clients and for me, and the business is still going. Actually, more people with larger portfolios are approaching and they want to get in because of this opportunity. So yeah, let's see. I think the opportunity will definitely be in the ready properties. This is, by the way, another thing that I should have mentioned. The ready market, which I was talking for many years on the channel, is definitely the one to watch right now. I don't think the off-plan market right now is the best place. However, let's see how this will develop. And again, if you need to discuss a ready property or you need a sourcing, do reach out and I'll try to do my best to help you out.